As most dudes do, I started fapping at the age of about 12, and I still remember that first day that I fapped. And obviously, I'm not going to get into it because it's fapping. So I started fapping when I was about 12 years old, and luckily at about 25, I finally gave up fapping. What it started as for me was just like a nice release when I got home from school or from work. And, you know, as time goes on and you start doing it more and more and you start watching more videos and you start looking at Instagram models, it progresses from 1 day to 2 days to 3 days. I remember at some points when I was a horny little kid where I was just fapping like 8 times a day, like an absolute madman. And eventually it ended up becoming a huge problem for me in my life. Does it sound familiar? When I was a young kid, I really didn't do much. I was not at all a social butterfly. All I did was sit in my room, play COD all day and just fap whenever I could. Even in COD, in between lobbies, I'd turn off my mic and I'd fap. During school, I had friends, I had girls that were my friends, but I really couldn't speak to girls because they were just like foreign creatures from a different planet. I had a friend group. I was just always the person on the sidelines listening, not chiming in. As time went on, I tried to just avoid any physical contact I could. I wouldn't eat dinner with my parents. I'd just get my food, come back in here, and then just continue what I'm doing, eat in here. I wouldn't go to social events. I wouldn't go to parties. And a couple of years ago, I finally did get over my fapping addiction, and it was quite simple once I figured it out for good. And the only thing I'd done was I found a purpose in my life, and that purpose for me is making these videos, creating content and trying to help other people, and personal training. By the way, if you're new here, my name's Dylan. Our boys become men through this channel and through my personal training. So if you like what you see, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, leave anything you can, and I hope to see you again soon. In a nutshell, the one thing I learned about my fapping addiction for me is that it was mood regulation. So if I had an amazing day, I'd go fap. If I had the worst day of my life, I'd still go fap. It was sort of like a thing that I'd do to re-regulate my mood and get myself back to my baseline, which was a terrible baseline, by the way. I was picked on a bit during school. I always felt like an outlier. I never seemed to fit in with anyone, and I just felt different. And all of this has led me to the point right now where I haven't fapped for 30 days, and I could not be more proud of myself. Because from the time I've started fapping till 25, there was never a period of my life where I didn't not fap for more than maybe 5 days. As I found my purpose and I started branching off and getting away from fapping, I noticed that I was going on these long streaks of 1 to 3 weeks without even trying. So let's talk benefits. Usually the first 1 to 3 days for me is always the hardest because I tend to be at my horniest during those first 3 days. But as time goes on and those feelings simmer down, you start to gain a whole lot more control over your sexual urges and you put that energy into things that matter. At about the 5-day mark, this is where I start to feel this energy inside me. It's kind of weird to explain, but it's kind of like an anger that builds up inside me. Not in an angry way. I like to think of it as this masculine energy that just every single dude with testosterone should have. As you approach 12 to 15 days, this is where you start to just respect yourself a whole lot more and you start to look at people objectively, especially girls. You won't look at girls as just a piece of meat to have sex with. You start to look at girls objectively like, what do you bring to the table? Or are you actually even worth my time? And that by far is the most notable difference that I felt. As I approach the 30-day mark, all these benefits start to blend together and you just start to become a normal functioning human being. I find it funny because so many people fap like crazy and so many people think that their state of mind, the state of mind that they're in right now is just the normal way of being, but it's not. This is why you hear people say that after a couple months of being on Nofap that all these benefits just magically disappear. They don't disappear. You just go back to a normal, healthy baseline. There's a couple of small things like more productivity, more strength in the gym, and better communication skills. If you get deep into a Nofap journey, I can guarantee that all the things that I told you are things that you yourself, you're going to experience. If you're really excited to feel these benefits, but you get 1 day or you get 3 days in and you keep fucking up, don't feel discouraged because we're all there. And to be quite frank, it took me years and years and years to get to the point where I am right now, where I finally gave up fapping. The only reason I got to the point where I am right now is because I never gave up and I never lost sight of that goal in the distance. Never give up. You'll get there eventually. I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it as well. And with that, good luck on your Nofap journey. Put your shirt on, bro, because you got work to do.